Well, happening today, the governor is announcing plans to help keep food on the table for local families.
It comes as thousands of people in our state have lost their food assistance in the last few months. Your reporter Taylor Knight is live in Hartford explaining the new SNAP rules and how they impact people right here in Connecticut.
Governor Lamont expects to announce plans on how the state will react to federal food assistance cuts. According to the state comptroller, nearly 40,000 people here in Connecticut have lost their SNAP benefits since last fall. Thousands of Connecticut residents have lost SNAP benefits since President Trump's One Big Beautiful bill was signed into law last July. According to the USDA, the law expanded SNAP work requirements, now applying to adults up to age 64. Previously, the cutoff was 54. It also stripped exemptions from veterans, homeless individuals, and young adults aging out of foster care. Parents of teenagers lost protections too. The dependent child exemption now only covers kids under 14, not 18. The state comptroller says 40,000 people lost benefits, and the average monthly benefit has dropped from $332 to $314 per household. And we expect to learn much more about the state's plans later this morning. Once we learn that new information, we will be sure to bring it to you on air and online. Your reporter live in Hartford, Taylor Knight, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
All right, Taylor, thank you.